Hey, what's up everyone? It's Gamer Guy here, and this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. Like, since I did my top 5 DIMP Sonic games back in like 2015, September 2015. That was exactly 4 years ago, and I've been meaning to do a top 10 Sonic games, but either I just didn't feel like doing it, I didn't have the time because I had other projects, or I just felt it would be very dated after making the video, because I felt like in the future there would be more games coming out. Then, you know, just a year later, when I was planning on doing it again, 2016, that's when Sega announced the 2 new games that would come out, Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces. So I really pumped the brakes on my top 10 Sonic games. Was like, let me wait until after Sonic Mania and Forces come out and I play them then, because I'm pretty sure one of those games are going to be in my top 10 list. Spoiler alert, it's not Sonic Forces. So I wanted to wait until after that. So then it was 2018, and then Sonic Mania Plus came out. And I was like, wait, let me see if Plus will make me even put this game higher than Sonic 3 Knuckles. So now we're here in 2019, and I've been meaning to make this, so let's do it now. Also, I'm not going to go too much into detail like my previous top 5s, because it was only top 5, I would talk excessively about a game. But since this is top 10, it's going to be a lot, so I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter and basically refer you guys to a lot of my other videos where I talk about this, because I've made tons of Sonic discussions for the past like over 2.5 years talking about different Sonic games. So I want you guys to actually watch those, then just rely on me saying everything here. But some games that I don't talk about at all on my channel, I will talk about in great detail here. So alright, let's begin. Also, I want to let you guys know this, my top 5 is the only one that will never change, at least until another Sonic game comes that surpasses it. But my top 5 has always been consistent, but I decided to do a top 10 because my top 10 has a bit more variety than the top 5. Mind you, from number 6 to 10th place, it tends to vary, and I really had difficulty trying to see which one goes which, so it fluctuates. After this video, I might switch like number 8, number 9, or number 7, number 8, who knows. But this is what I thought would make my top 10, so yeah. And also, I'm not going to explain that this is my opinion, so don't get butthurt. If you came into this video expecting to get butthurt, then you will get butthurt. I mean, there's really not much I can say. So alright, let's get started with number 10, which is Sonic the Hedgehog 1. The original from 1991. Alright, so I know some of you classic fans are like, wow, why is this so low? Well, first let me talk about the pros on why it even made my top 10 list. So the pros are, obviously, it's the one that started it all, you know? This is what put Sega on the map as a competitor to Nintendo. So how could I ignore it? This is like a Mario fan ignoring Super Mario Brothers, the original, for his top 10. I mean, you just gotta give respect to it. Unless if it was a terrible game, which the sequel improved on, it deserves to be on everybody's top 10 or 15 list or whatever, top 20. But since I'm just doing top 10, I had to put on my number 10. I don't hate the game at all, you know? It was the game that started momentum physics platforming, which was the first of its kind. It really revolutionized the platforming genre. I don't think people realize that, but I feel the need to repeat that again. Sonic the Hedgehog revolutionized the platformer genre. Because yes, Super Mario Bros. 1 had a bit of physics in it and a little bit of momentum, but Sonic 1 was really what made it the staple of platforming for the game series. And other games would try and attempt this, like Bubsy, and fail hard. Now, my cons for this, why is it so low in my top 10? Honestly, it's a chore for me to get through this game, especially in marathons. Every time I'm doing a Sonic the Hedgehog Classics marathon, my most recent one was back in 2015 when I did my season of Sonic. Anytime I play this game, it's for me to get done with it and get to the next game. You know, anytime I play this game, I just can't wait to get done with it and move on to Sonic 2, because things really start getting exciting by Sonic 2. So it's a chore for me because it's just slower paced. You know, it's heavy platforming sections. Like, this game has the most heavy platforming of the classics, and it really shows here. Like, my least favorite levels is like Labyrinth Zone. Ugh, I think is the worst level in all of the classic Hedgehog series. Also, I didn't like Scrap Brain Zone. Green Hill Zone, honestly, in my opinion, is the best stage in the game. It is. And then it just starts to go a little downhill from there in my excitement levels. I mean, Starlight is a pretty good stage, but just Starlight and Green Hill is the only one I can think of. Hell, those are the only levels with loop-de-loops. You know, Sega would really improve on this in future games and really hit their stride. This was the first game, so like Super Mario Bros. 1, you know, it's just not that And also, I will refer you guys to that video I made about the 2D Mario games not being the greatest thing ever. I'm going to link that in this video so you guys can hear and see how I compare Super Mario Bros. 1 to Sonic 1. But yeah, so basically, yeah, this concept pales in comparisons to the sequels. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing, because that solidifies Sonic in the 90s. So alright, now number 9. Now this is when things are going to start surprising you guys. In 9th place is Sonic Rivals 2. Oh yes, the game that got a lot of mixed reviews and was pretty much a forgotten, underrated game is in my top 10, and I put it higher than Sonic 1. Now, why would I be so crazy to do this? Well, the pros is, for me, it's a better version of Sonic R. Yeah, I know some people, like Premi, like to call me classic Sonic fanboy, but I think Rivals 2 is better than Sonic R. You know, because Sonic R is just, it's nostalgic, that's all. But just think about it. Sonic characters are running and they're throwing projectiles on each other. It's kind of like Sonic R. They're not driving in cars like the All-Stars racing games. So the game modes are fun. Racing against your opponent is fun, and the power-ups and projectiles are pretty fun. I love the level gimmicks. You know, there's 6 zones in this stage, and they're pretty much the samey related to previous games and all that. And speaking of which, is it just me, but Blue Coast zone in the first zone in Sonic Rivals 2 looks oddly familiar to Windmill Isle or Apodos in Sonic Unleashed, and this game came out before that. This game came out 2007. But I think the best, most original stage in this game is Frontier Canyon Zone, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's never ever been a Wild Wild West themed zone stage in the Sonic series besides this level. You know, it's funny because we all thought that the third storybook Sonic game after Black Knight would be Sonic in the Wild West or something, and that never came to fruition. So I think this is the only game with that kind of cowboy Wild West level. So I really liked it. And I love the different challenges in this game, especially the game modes. My favorite, there were 6 of them. You know, knockout, ring battle, capture the Chow, tag, King of the Hill, and there was something else. Oh, the relay races, which pretty much just running around laps. But my favorite was the knockout, is where you just knock out your opponent. You can use so many different things, like in the knockout, you can just hit them melee, you can homing attack on them, you can use projectiles, you can use the level obstacles, you know, you can use that to your advantage. It's pretty much almost like metagaming, kind of like a little mini discount Smash Bros game with Sonic characters. The only difference is you don't knock them out the stage. But I really liked it, you know. I love the ring battles, and I love to capture the Chow. It was really fun. This was the last game that would have Chow in the gameplay design. So the graphics were great at the time. For a handheld game, the graphics were awesome. So I really, really liked it. I don't know why people were so harsh in grading it and giving it mediocre scores. Maybe it's because it was just coming off the backs of like Sonic 06, the Riders games, and around that period, critics were just hating on the Sonic franchise, making a lot of videos of top 10 gaming franchises that should die. So Sonic really wasn't a popular thing at that time. We're talking about the years of 2005 to 2008. Those years, Sonic was just hated. And that was when I was a teenager, 15 to 18 years old. 18 in 2008. So yeah, but that is why I love Sonic Rivals 2. I even did a LP on it, you know, that was when I was using my shitty camera up until I learned how to use Joylight game capture. But yeah, I just really enjoyed the game. Now, it's way better than Rivals 1. Rivals 1 is not even on my top 10 list because it was fun, but it's considerably lacking after you play Rivals 2. And it's the last Sonic game where you can play as multiple characters. You can play as 8 characters: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Rouge, Silver, Espio, Shadow, Metal Sonic. I mean, it's just so awesome, you know. And this is the Sonic game I think I put the most playtime into. I didn't have any current generation games, and Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and PlayStation 1 were all boxed up because we couldn't connect it to the TV we were using at the time. So PlayStation Portable was all I was using. It's either that or Game Boy Advance, and I played the hell out of Sonic Rivals 2. Like, I just had so much fun with that game. I put so many hours into that game. Played it over and over and over again, you know, erased the file, did it all over again, got all the challenges. So I think it's the Sonic game that I put the most playtime into, only because I didn't have a choice. That was the only game I had. And online was fun when you could even get online. It was mostly local. And it's the best Sonic game with Silver in it. Think about it. It's the best Sonic game where you play as Silver. Period. You only play as Silver in Sonic 06. this game, the Rivals games, and I think Sonic and the Secret Rings. So Rivals it is, and it kind of reboots his character, because this makes Silver canon, because as you guys know, Sonic 06 is non-canon anymore because all the events erased. But then how does Sonic know Silver? Sonic meets Silver for the first time in Sonic Rivals 1 and 2, so that's where Silver is canon. And I don't give a fuck what Sonic Team says. Yes, they did not make this game. It was Backbone Entertainment, which is a Canadian group, a Canadian gaming company, but this is canon. So that's how they met. I mean, like, how else did they know each other? Now, the cons in this game is everyone plays kind of the same. That's it. They just all play the same, besides their signature moves, and some just don't make sense. The best signature move here is Sonic's Boom, you know, and Metal Sonic's Default, which is also Sonic's Boom. It's kind of like the boost before there was a boost. You know, you press it and Sonic just boosts. He has to get enough rings until he fills his gauge. Then he just boosts. Like, he says, Sonic Boom. You know, and yeah, he kind of boosts. This is kind of like the boost before the boost, you know. I mean, it came after Sonic Rush, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, the other characters didn't make sense. I mean, the Tails copter, though, was quite handy. You know, you could use his copter to, like, fly over certain areas and just bypass all of them. But Knuckle Slam was really useless in Rivals 2. I mean, Rivals 1 was better because anytime he hits the ground, your player just stops, is frozen and confused. But in the sequel, he just has, like, a aura of fire when he slams the ground with his knuckles. But unless if he's close to the opponent or his character, it's pretty much a useless signature form. I mean, sure, it creates a barrier, so it destroys any type of obstacles or missiles, projectiles thrown at you, but that's about it. It's still useless. Rouge's back guard is kind of the same, similar to Knuckles, except she can at least throw them at her opponent, so they can kind of reach far, but they can't home in on your enemies, so yeah. Shadow's Chaos Control's alright, it slows down the opponent, but unless if your opponent's close so you can homing attack, it's still kind of useless, because, I mean, you're kind of doing to your AI, and there's some serious rubber banding in this game. You know, I'm used to it, but the rubber banding is almost terrible sometimes. You know, like, you'll be far and your opponent will just catch up to you. They'll be all the way at the beginning, and they'll just catch up to you. And Silver's ESP signature move, it doesn't seem to be useful. It scrambles the controls, but, I mean, how can you tell when you're competing against an AI? I mean, sometimes when you can see the AI and use it, they'll be running backwards, so that's pretty funny. Now, SBO's I think is the most useless because he's invisible, so he's supposed to be invisible to enemies and projectiles, but I've been playing this game for years and I don't feel like it works. It does give him a temporary speed boost, so I guess that's alright, but it's nothing compared to Sonic's Boom. And also, the game relies too heavily on boost pads. Oh yes, without the boost pads, you are slow as balls. But because I played the game multiple times and I've experienced how to maneuver with the level, especially playing with Sonic, I can be very fast and just blaze through the levels because I played it so much, you know. And also another con is the online is not good. It's not very good because other players must have the copy of the same game. And I mean, when I had the PlayStation Portable, most people who had it did not have Sonic Rivals. Sonic Rivals 1 and 2 were the only Sonic games on the PlayStation Portable. Nobody was buying a PSP just to get Sonic Rivals, so I was shit out of luck. I think I only played it once with this one guy who had it. You must have online to unlock all the costumes and get all the cards. Otherwise, you'll never truly 100% the game. I still haven't 100% it to this day. So yeah, that's the huge downfall of it. It's mandatory to have online, play with people, do multiplayer so you can get all the 100%. I don't know what they were thinking when they made this game. Did they think many people would buy this like Mario Kart or something? I don't know, but that's it about Sonic Rivals 2. Now, in 8th place is Sonic Adventure 1. Or Sonic Adventure DX, to be honest, because I've honestly never played SA1. I played it a bit in a friend's house at the time, like 2000, but I never owned it. You guys should watch my Sonic Team Cycle video I did with BC Media Player. And honestly, it's the best 3D gameplay of Sonic thus far. You know, Tails and Knuckles too. You know, it's even better than the spectacle platformer style of Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, this is the best 3D Sonic has been, which is kind of sad, but I love the 2D to 3D transition. So this is basically 2D Sonic in 3D. So the level design and everything, the 3D environment, and Sonic controls, to me, he controls the best in this 3D environment, even though it's kind of dated. Sonic Adventure 2, his controls were a little bit floaty. But you guys should totally watch that video and also watch this video where I talk about reasons why Sonic Adventure 1 is better than Sonic Adventure 2. So also the other pros is it doesn't force the other two gameplay styles, like I said in that video, making treasure hunting down your throat. You can just focus on Sonic's gameplay and then Tails and Knuckles. And Tails is much more bearable than he was in SA2, especially Knuckles. And I also like playing Gamma. Like I said in the video, Gamma is a fun shooter. I enjoyed him. And the cons, obviously, Big the Cat, you know, being mandatory to complete the game. And Amy's too slow paced and just meh. Only 3 levels, but it was really forgettable and quite cumbersome. And obviously the biggest con everybody's thinking, it hasn't aged the greatest. It really needs a remake the most. I mean, come on, Sega. There have been so many rumors about Sonic Adventure being remade. That's why it's not higher on my list. It needs to be remade. And navigating the hub world can be a bit tedious sometimes. And yeah, I got lost a lot, you know, because the hub worlds aren't really Sonic's forte, let's be honest. Now, 7th place, Sonic Colors. Yes, on the Wii. Now my pros is it's just a fun game. I mean, a very fun game. What more can I say? You know, the Wisps are utilized excellently in this game. And it's really the only time the Wisps are fun in this game. Besides the Wisp spawns in Sonic Forces, but that is used a different way, like weapons. And the pros, I love the bonus features, the simulator, like how you obtain Supersonic. That was a very nice surprise, because Supersonic at that point had not been playable since the classics, or Sonic 4 if you want to talk about that. But yeah, it was just a breath of fresh air and much needed renaissance for Sonic at the time. You know, I know it's popular now to hate on Sonic Colors, but at the time it was a very fun game. I loved it. Now, the cons, it's too much 2D platforming. Now that I look back at it, that really was the game's crutch. It relied too much on the 2D platforming. Although it was mostly used for the Wisps though. Now, the story, I didn't mind the story. It was cute at the time and funny. It's kind of lame and cheesy now. But there was no Supersonic boss like the DS version. The Mother Naked Wisp, I would have loved to see that in Sonic Colors Wii. I know they wanted to be different, but every 3D Sonic game had always had a Supersonic boss in the end. They should have done that. I mean, Generations did that, and you could still play as Supersonic in the end. So why couldn't this game do that? But the biggest con, and it's not even this game's fault, but the biggest con in the future because of Sonic Forces is Sega took this level design on the Wii, which was a limited console, and they implemented it in Sonic Forces instead of Generations level design. Bad move, Sega, bad move. Yeah, other than that, this game was pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. Although Sonic Colors is the last original Sonic game, after that, Green Hill and nostalgia is just dialed up to 100. But yeah, okay, now 6th place. Sonic Colors DS. Oh yes. I put this higher than the Wii version, and a lot of critics did too. Simply, Sonic Colors DS is the best, not only the best Colors game after I played it again, but it's the best Sonic Rush game. You might as well call it Sonic Rush 3. And you can also take a look at it in this video where I talk about my top 5 DIMP Sonic games. I also put Colors DS as number 1 because it is. You know, there's hardly any cheap bottomless pits or cheap deaths like the Rush games. And it's better paced than Rush Adventure, you know, and the Wisps are used even better than the Wii version. You know, you don't have to stop and use Wish. There's no blue cube type of thing, you know, where it just halts the speed and the momentum. So I really loved it, and it uses the 2D space much more effectively, and it's more fully realized in the Wii version. And Sonic's friends are in it, which is also a nice thing. But yeah, I explained more in that video, so I'm not going to repeat myself here. The cons are, there's a huge difficulty spike in Asteroid Coast, or Asteroid Coaster, I think that's what it's called. So yeah, I hated that level though. The difficulty spike was like just pumped up there. And the bosses, I didn't so much like the bosses in the game. But anyway, watch that video where you hear me talk more about it. Now down to my top 5. In 5th place, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Now the pros. It was the first Sonic game I played, actually. I played Sonic 1 much later in life, so that's why I have fonder memories of this. And Emerald Hill is better than Green Hill. I mean, even when they remake Green Hill a lot, like in Generations, they borrow a lot of concepts from Emerald Hill, like the corkscrew and all that. Yeah, it really started the speed platforming gameplay, sort of like what Sonic Adventure 2 did with Spectacle. And Tails and Supersonic, they're introduced in this game. So I love that, you know. Before in Sonic 1, the Chaos Emeralds were kind of useless and there were only 6. I never bothered with the special stages in Sonic 1. So basically everything is just a better upgrade from the first game. The cons are, I don't really have a favorite level that stands out to me in this game. You know, it kind of starts out great, and then after like Hilltop, I start disliking the levels a bit. But I do like Hilltop Zone a little more, but I hate Metropolis. It goes on for too long, and it's 3 acts instead of 2. I don't know why they did that. And Sky Chase, I mean, I like the theme of it. I like the music and the scope, but I don't like playing the level, actually. And oh, and I hate Wing Fortress. That was a much better level in Sonic 4 Episode 2, to be honest. Now, my cons are, the negatives of this is that there's no save feature. The difficulty spike is unbalanced, and there's no lives in the final boss, which I hated that. I know some people thought that was a nice hearty challenge, but not me. Not even 1 ring. And once you died, and back then, if you get a game over, you start all the way from the beginning. I hated that. And honestly, Christian Whitehead's Sonic 2 Remaster fixes a lot of these problems, including the special stage, fixes the frame rate, so the bombs just don't pop out in front of your face. You can navigate it better. And also, he fixes the bottomless pit problem in Mystic Cave. You fall through the bottomless pit, you end up in Hidden Palace Zone, which was part of the beta, a scrap zone from Sonic 2 beta. So yeah, I like that, and Christian Whitehead fixes a lot of those issues. I don't know why Sega never ported those games for consoles or PC. It's only on mobile. And yeah, you guys should also watch this video I made where I talked about the holy grail of the classic Sonic games, and I break down a lot about the different gameplay concepts of Sonic 1, 2, and 3 Knuckles. Now in 4th place, Sonic CD. Yes, the pros of Sonic CD is I love the exploration-based platforming of this game. So many different pathways, I love it. I love the exploration. You know, using the time post to find the robot generators, to me, is more fun than collecting time stones in special stages. And I love that there's different options on how to 100% this game. There's no right way to play this game, to be honest. And you don't need Supersonic in this game to enjoy it. And the music is great. New Jack Swing. I love the music. That was the first thing I noticed about this game when I played it much later in life. And you guys should watch my top 5 Sonic soundtracks on this when I talk about Sonic CD. My favorite level, also Stardust Speedway. Now the cons on this game is you can get lost in levels because of unorthodox level design. It's not like the Genesis Classics. It's pretty much the black sheep of Sonic 2D games, as the time travel gameplay style is never ever revisited. Christian Whitehead's version is the superior version, and I can't go back to the old version because of the terrible collision detection. The spin dash is kind of bad, and a couple of bugs that hinder the original game from true potential. Honestly, if it wasn't for Christian Whitehead's remaster, which put him on the map with Sega, Sonic CD wouldn't even be in my top 5, to be honest. I mean, I know critics loved and praised the game, but the older game has a bit more problems than I noticed. So, yeah, the remaster is much better. Okay, now 3rd place, Sonic Generations. The pros. It's the best Boost Sonic game, and it's just the best modern Sonic game. And yes, from Sonic 06 to present, this is the best modern Sonic game. And I explain more in this video where I talk about Sonic Generations and why it's a masterful game, kind of almost a masterpiece in my eyes. The level design is phenomenal in this game, you know, for a modern Sonic game. And it's the only modern Sonic game I 100% S ranked. And also the pros is the filler gameplay style. Classic Sonic is a fun gimmick, and at the time Classic Sonic was hype. Better than the Hedgehog, honestly. I mean, I loved Classic Sonic's levels, but at the end of the day, I ended up loving the modern gameplay style Sonic more than the classic. I even talked about in that video, if you strip away Classic Sonic, Sonic Generations still is a great game with modern Sonic alone. Now the cons are Planet Wisp is the weakest level in the game because of the Wisp gameplay is very tedious in this level. And there's only 9 levels, which is not enough. They should have combined the 3DS levels from Sonic Generations 3DS. They should have combined that into the HD version and make Sonic 3DS version strictly Sonic's handheld endeavors. I also explained that in this video about how to fix Sonic Generations 3DS. Now, 2nd place is Sonic Mania. Yeah, the pros. I mean, it's the true successor to Sonic 3 Knuckles. It's the only Sonic official game, not fan game, that is the true successor to Sonic 3 Knuckles. You know, it got in all the things that made it great, from power-ups to the level design, the style, etc. Except the sprites. I kind of wanted Sonic 3 sprite, you know, unpopular opinion, but oh well. And the music is god tier. T-Lopes, oh my god, loved it. So you can also find that in the Sonic soundtrack video that I linked earlier in the video. So basically, Mania blends in all the strengths from Sonic 1 to 3 and K. with the level design, you know? And the cons. Now the cons are, gameplay wise, it's technically better than Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but overall it's not as original as that game because of Bazooka, and you can watch more about that in this Magna Carta video that I did. Also, another con is the story is connected to Sonic Forces. I mean, it pretty much is the precursor to Sonic Forces, so at the end of the day it's kind of meh for the story. I kind of wish they went with Christian Whitehead's original idea for the story in the Hard-Boiled Heavies, how Dr. Eggman had a bit of depression from losing the Sonic so much, so the Hard-Boiled Heavies took over. But no, Zuka had to put the Phantom Ruby. I mean, honestly, we all were excited that a classic style Sonic game was connected to the modern Sonic games, but that was then, this is now. Alright, and last but not least, number one, my number one top Sonic game of all time is, I mean, you guys who know me, you already guessed it, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now the pros, I mean, need I say more? I mean, it's the holy grail of Sonic games, literally. Because you can't find another version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. It's never been remastered, never been remade. They can never remake it again. So it's kind of like lost in time. So it's literally a holy grail. You either have the original or get it from like Genesis Collections or an emulator, or that's it. Sega will never port this game again, and I think it's for a lot of reasons. From the music, Michael Jackson having a lot of things to do with the music. So the music rights, and also Hypersonic, you know how Sega's trying to distance themselves from that because of giving people supposedly seizures and all that. But yeah, Sonic 3 Knuckles perfectly balances the level designs, which I love. I explained that in my previous videos, multiple paths. I mean, I talk about this so much, I don't even need to explain to you guys why this is the best Sonic game. And I love how you play Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Knuckles' story and his level layout is nicely weaved in the game. Now, I talked about cons for all the other games, so I gotta be fair and talk about cons in this game. Now, honestly, are there any cons in 3 Knuckles? I mean, I guess the special stage isn't as fluid as Mania's frame-wise because of the frame rate. And, oh, also another con. There's no Christian Whitehead remaster. You know, if Sega could make Christian Whitehead remaster this game, if they could allow Christian Whitehead to remaster this game, then I would really love that. That's what almost made me put Mania above this game, but at the end of the day it's like, nah, 3NK still holds that number one spot. Alright guys, well that wraps it up. That is my top 10 Sonic games. Now if I had any honorable mentions, I would give it to the Sonic Advance trilogy. That's also a fine game Dimps made and is in my top 5 Dimps Sonic games or handheld Sonic games. I just never connected or resonated with it much because I had the classics. And I would also say, although this won't really count to you guys, Sonic Unleashed Project. I love the Sonic Unleashed Project mod. They fix a lot of the problems I had with Unleashed. And I'm not just talking about the Werehog, that's obvious, but just the gameplay style, you know, and the controls. But I know that doesn't really count because it's a mod and it's not an official game. But yeah, that's it. Now what are your guys' top 10 Sonic games? I want to know. Sound off in the comments below, and also, do you agree with this list? Do you like this list or not? Can't wait to see the comments. Alright guys, finally I did my top 10. Will it change in the future? Of course. You know, the fact that 3NK is still my number one is kind of sad because the only person that I know that can top that is Christian Whitehead. Sega just needs to allow him to do his thing. But okay, remember to smash the like button, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you for supporting my channel. But alright, take care, and until next time, swag out.